the sessions that we are going to run is, I will be focusing on session 1 and session 3. Veej will be running session 2 and session 4. I'm focusing on a lot of guard passing and looking at some submissions specifically. Veej will be running through side control bottom, and if time permits, we will look at half guard bottom. You will stand up, you'll walk around the room, you will introduce yourself to the other person. So say, I'm Debo, and you will say, I got your back. Kushagra, I got your back. Hey Vishnu, I'm Debo, got your back. On the mats, let's open up our hips like for 2 minutes, because we'll be dealing with playing in this position a lot. When you're playing guard, always learn to use your elbows on the mat. That helps us with pummeling. Okay, now cross your legs, open out and in, about 5 of these. Hold your big toe and think of pulling you can hold at the side of your foot also, and pulling your knees to your chest and keeping our hips flat. Don't let it round up. We're not getting stacked. We are just pulling our hips down. Okay, on your knees. One leg up, stretch your hip flexors. The theme for today's session is, how do we approach guard passing, right? There are 2 common ways that people pass the guard. By now, everyone's experienced, so you would have seen. One is if I engage in the guard straight away, right? This gives him access to my legs, and he can play a few different forms of guard. But the whole idea is that I'm getting entangled in this position, right? And then subsequently, he starts off-balancing me and maybe creates certain threats. Yes, and can, yes, maybe sweep me down, yeah? So this is one way to approach. The positive side, the positive of this is I can immediately put pressure and compress Veej in this position, right? So when we look to pass, we will be passing this way. The other approach that we commonly see is going around the person. So we are trying to go around and put weight and deal with the legs this way, okay? So today's focus is not so much going through. We would almost try to build this habit that we will keep our legs safe from this position, right? But how we approach is never with our legs leading. That gives him access. We are always keeping our legs behind, and we are starting to put weight onto the person, right? So we are making him carry my weight by keeping my back strong, right? So we will start with this. So we are getting into this position, keeping our legs safe, and we are just learning to put weight onto the person, right? And bottom person will give you feedback. When you switch, you'll understand that it's basically your hip flexors starting to take that load. The idea of this kind of passing is not to really pass immediately, but to wear out the person. In a 6-minute match or a 5-minute match, we probably expect to pass closer to a 3-minute mark or a 4-minute mark. We don't expect to immediately pass the person. So this kind of approach will fit with that. So the mindset is not to pass, but to put weight onto the person. Yes, so just find yourself in this position, and from here, we can move to one side, right? So I'm trying to always keep his hips pressured in, and we look to move, go north, south. Maybe we switch, and we are again putting weight, right? So bottom person can play around. You can try to move him, right? So try to move me with your push with your legs. So he'll try to push. So try to keep it there and maybe go back into this position, right? And from here again, see if you can just play with his hips. You're trying to keep weight. If you come closer, my legs are accessible, and he will again connect, and some threat will open up. So engaging from distance, putting weight, and we are creating distance, maybe switch, right? And again playing, constantly pressuring him in. and switch. Yeah, so let's partner up. We start with this and then we start adding more layers to this. Okay, let's go, guys. I'm putting weight onto the legs, right? If I get here, I'm again putting weight. If you open the legs, this is good for me, right? Yes, because we will talk about it. We want to take this space up, right? So for now, the bottom person will try to keep the legs close to the chest, right? And you try to play with this. Maybe put weight here if you feel, and then you move, and you're just trying to put weight.
The bottom person getting control of my.
A few things that's like maybe will be a test, right? Like will be a challenge is how do you access this, because they will be fighting. All of these things will happen, right? So for now, don't worry about fighting. Like the bottom person, don't pummel and fight this. This is the right fight that you are doing as a bottom person. But as a top person, we are as much as possible going over and keeping our arms stacked in and putting weight, right? So this is something that we want to do, right? So once the pressure has been, pressure is on the bottom person, it will be difficult for him to move, right? And I'm getting all the feedback, whichever side the person is moving, because so now if Veej tries to push into me, we'll be able to redirect it in some way. So they are carrying my weight and I'm reacting to that. So that is one. Next thing, if the bottom person is trying to keep the knee close to the chest, right? Because that's when I don't have space to go through, right? I can't pass. If you start opening up this space, especially in some of you reactions, you are here, you will be able to give this space rather easily, right? So the bottom person, try to keep your knee close to your chest. As a top guy, if they open up, this is favorable for me. Okay, now adding to the drill, the core idea is the person is playing supine guard, right? He's on his back. I'm approaching, right? But maybe I made this mistake and I got closer. You stay here, you put weight with the other arm, strip the grip, go back to this range. So a couple of times maybe you proactively go in, but this time I strip and again find my range where I'm no longer, he's no longer able to reach me, right? From here, keep this pressure as you move. You will have to switch hands, get to this kind of position, right? And make sure he can't reach. So simple drill, but I can maybe get close. I strip first and immediately go back to safety where I'm putting pressure. Yeah? थोड़ा palm को अंदर की तरफ और roll करो so that वो pummel ना कर सके अंदर और भी थोड़ा अंदर की तरफ. Yes. We'll make like a small game. You guys are already doing it. It will become more emphasized in this drill, right? People call it the dirty feet drill, where anytime, whenever he is playing guard, Vijay is playing guard, he wants his feet pointing towards me, right? So if he is following me with his feet, I can't pass the guard essentially, right? So the drill that we are looking to do is we are trying to get to this pressure position, but I want his feet, dirty feet, away from me, right? So whenever we are going, you can switch hands, right? This drill can be, you can play this drill with both hands or even switch one hand, right? See, and always stacking my joints so that I can put pressure, not keeping it bent, because now he will pummel his leg and I have to fight strength for strength, right? So I'm trying to keep my arms straight as much as possible. If you feel not able to reach, maybe switch. But all I want is his feet pointing away from me. This is good. Feet pointing up. And then you reset, right? Let the bottom person try to recover. So it's like a small game where the bottom person is trying to bring the feet in front of you. All you are looking to do is creating distance, right? Keeping it away. He brings his feet back in. You're only worried about the feet and the distance. Yes. And then if you come back, he tries to recover. He's coming back. I'm taking it out. This is all we are looking to do. Yeah. This is where you have to become a little playful and know that what you're doing is keeping you safe. That's the whole idea. The idea of this kind of guard passing is not to engage and then I'm in a battle, right? This is something that we have spoken about in class also, where we make ties and now we feel like we are forced to fight. But sometimes we always have the option to disengage and engage at our own terms, right? So this is what this kind of passing will help us do, right? Like, so I'm always here and I'm trying to keep his legs away. If it comes back, see, I'm not even putting too much pressure into the person. I could, right? But for the drill, maybe we're just moving out and he brings his legs back in. I'm just looking at the, following the feet basically, right? So this is something so that you don't put too much pressure on the bottom person. One. Now, this kind of passing, if we are doing, our end goal is to somehow get to a north-south position, right? Or we will call it like a shoulder line. So we are always looking to create angles and get to north-south position. Yes? From here, we are looking to find this hip pocket. We can find the hip pocket with my arm. If I get this hip pocket, I'm basically stopping his hips from moving in. I can find the hip pocket with my knees going in. We try to move your hips. It'll be difficult. But if I'm up here, Veej will connect with my legs, either this way or he'll just start to entangle the legs. Things will go bad from there. Because I found the hip pocket, but I'm not putting weight into him. I'm keeping my legs back. We want to put our hips into the person. And notice how I'm keeping my legs far, right? And I'm driving into the person. So I can find the hip pocket with my legs, with my arm. Let me turn this way, sorry. We can go down with this and gradually we can look to place our shoulder as well. But all we are looking to do is put pressure on the hip pocket. And he can't move his hips back in and giving me the space, and now I'm passing on my terms. Yes? So getting to north-south is almost like a goal or a target for us in this style of passing. So we are going around, going to north-south. If the bottom person now, so now this is the drill that you will do. You are doing the same game. You are playing around, don't put too much weight. A question was, sometimes they are putting the knees away. And how do you put weight? I can't put weight, but I can directly go into the hip pocket. Once you get into the hip pocket, I want the bottom person to try and recover the legs, right? So try to keep your head safe and put pressure into the person. Yes? So that he can't move and use his engage back. He should not be able to turn also rather easily. So try to face towards me, it'll be very difficult. So try to find that space. If you understand this idea of hip pocket, you can also start playing with, like, maybe you got to this position and you place your foot here. All we are looking to do is put forward weight. It's the same as this weight. But ultimate objective is to immobilize his hip and then find the hip pocket. Because if I start finding the hip pocket, now I'll take this space. Yeah, so find a way to get to north-south, apply pressure. Now, if he keeps his knees heavy, now this makes it easy for me to put pressure. So notice how I'm going down on my elbows and I'm still holding on to him. Right now I'm on my knees to avoid pressure on Veej, but I'll be up here. And he does not like it, I take this space. Yes, so you will try to keep pressure, his hips are getting tired. In that process, there's no rush. Whenever the hip starts opening up, you put something in the hip pocket. Yes, bottom person, try to engage, recover, you're doing the same game. Okay, let's go. Like, how do you put weight from here? This is just to find something temporarily and then we have to apply weight, right? So for now, you can potentially, we want something driving in this direction. Some of you were starting here and you were fighting against the joint. This doesn't put too much pressure. We either want to pull him in and let him carry that weight and he's getting tired, or you are pushing him out. So it's working in this direction, right? So the moment we push, and now I find the hip pocket, try to make a fist, this may get stuck, so try to make a fist, and we are getting here. If I want to put more forward pressure, I have to start using my shoulder. And notice how if I start going on, if I want to put pressure on Vij's right hip, and my hip goes on this direction, there is not much pressure. He can move. Once you find the hip pocket, start biasing your body to that one side. All we want is to immobilize one hip, right? If you capture, it's the same, right? I'm just exaggerating this point, but if I'm driving and immobilizing one side of the hip, if I ask Vij to move this hip, this pummel, it will be limited. So I'm okay with that. As long as I'm putting pressure on one side of the hip. Yes, and your hands are of course checking and doing all of these things, but from here, if you feel like you need to drop because you want to drive your shoulder in, drop to this side and not here, because now my shoulder can't drive. So you're going here, and I'm almost biasing myself to the same side, not staying here or going across. Yes, so staying on the same side. There is no particular position that we are trying to get to. Get that out. I'll be clear. We are not trying to get to a particular position. We are trying to first tire out the person. And the only way I can tire out the person is by making him react with his legs all the time while I conserve my energy, right? So the moment I start making pressure and he is fighting, he is constantly working. That is my first objective. Incrementally, we want to put more and more hip pressure. So if I can find myself in these angles, I want to put pressure into the hips, either with my arm or my feet in some way to make that pressure more and more and immobilize his hips. Eventually, I want to go at this level, because only then, if I don't get chest to chest, I can't pass. That's a rule. So if I stay here, I can immobilize him, but that's the only goal. From here, I have to switch. Sorry, Vij, you can? I have to get to this position, right? So whatever we are doing today is to apply more and more pressure. At the end, find the hip pocket and then go there. Okay, so now we'll add one more thing which will make it even more difficult, right? So right now we are creating movement and applying weight, but some of you are finding it difficult in like constantly moving and he's facing you, right? That means you are trying to fight his knees a lot more. I would say try to fight these kind of angles, right? He recovers, you fight angles more. Now, if you start finding the heel here, I want you to pull and get them to stack. This is something will be, right now I'm not putting pressure, but we will make it worse by putting pressure. And all we want to do is keep him here. Yes, I can't crush beyond this, right? I can't make his life worse in any other way, but by keeping him here, he's tiring out, and then maybe I let him recover, right? So do all of these things. Gripping becomes important. So now when I find this, I'm going to push. If he recovers, I let Vij recover, I'm going back to this game. If he stays here, I pull him back in. Notice how I'm going away from him to keep that distance, right? So this can also happen, but don't make this the priority. From here, maybe because I want to go to north-south. He brings his leg, I pin. Let him recover, he will recover, and then you go back to that game, right? And now he doesn't like doing it, you find the hip pocket. Yes? So don't keep the stack for too long. As a bottom person also, your back will get jammed. Again, hip pressure, tire him out, hip pressure, tire him out. So just to wear out his hips so that he can't play guard after, say, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. If you put the person in stack, when you yourself are in a stack, you will notice how that time drastically reduces. If you have been, someone has been stacked by Vij, you will know how you want to get out of that position immediately, right? So we are basically trying to create those conditions. So try to stack, but for that, you will need decent grips. Don't force the position from here. Maybe he's playing it here. Don't force it. Maybe you create angle, brings his leg. Yes. Now I can push down. Yes, so be a little bit more perceptive of where you are placing your grips. That will help in this game. Yeah, let's go. From this position, I have captured his elbow, right? So from here, I'm starting to move into a Kimura position. Yes, so again, we will start in this hip pocket position. This arm you will have to fight. It won't be presented to you easily, right? So there will be fight. Maybe you got here and he finds this position. And the moment I capture, not with my palm, but with my elbow and pinning my elbow to my body, and I'm rotating, going palm up with my wrist. This will put a lot of pressure into his ribs. From here, I'm starting to turn him and maybe come on to my knees. His elbow is already captured. All I'm focusing on is the other wrist, right? So from here, I make a grip on this wrist. Vij, if you can turn this way. So elbow is captured, and notice I'm always driving into this. I'm not taking this pressure off. So I'm here, finding this wrist, making a grip of my own, a figure 4. Yes. From here, I have this grip. I can go for the finish, but oftentimes this hand will start like resisting, fighting this. So capturing this arm, taking it out of this equation becomes paramount, right? So if I'm here, and it can happen in any order, but all I'm looking to do is basically take weight. I can take, because I'm leaning on this side, this leg will come through and take this out for now. Now his arm can't bother me. I'm looking to peel this up. So I'm doing like a deadlift motion. His elbow stays connected to my chest as I posture up. As I posture up, I'm making my figure 4 grip and turning to one side. I'm not keeping my body this direction and just rotating. Not enough power going through. We want to stay connected. I'm pulling the shoulder joint out from the socket. So I'm pulling it up, and from here, I'm keeping this. This is, think of like a stick fixed to my chest. And as I move my chest, the stick will move. It's not moving the stick while my chest stays here, right? So once more, I found the hip pocket. There is some fight happening. I capture the elbow. I start turning him to one side and just secure it for now. But this is not good enough till I step and capture this. So I'm getting my heel, biting and going down to my knee. From here, I want to pull up. People can resist. There are few things in Nogi that can happen because he doesn't have the other arm to defend himself. He can grab his own cloth or put his arm inside and just seal it off. Yeah. You will have to be patient, right? So you can't just yank. You will have to somehow find this out, right? So one good thing that we can do for now, there are quite a few reactions that can happen, but from here itself, the moment you make this grip, you are pulling it out and immediately going to the top position. Right? So Vij can make a grip. Yes. So from here, I'm unlatching it. I'm unlatching it and going here. Don't go into the finish, but we are looking at unlatching. And from this position, again, try to keep this bent, and I'm looking. Okay? Straightforward. Start from the hip pocket position. Yeah? Let's go. We'll do a quick recap. The overall guard passing approach that we are taking, we are trying to understand that we can engage the guard, but then have to deal with this. I'm always at a risk, right? Like engage legs means there is a risk. We are trying to play a very safe approach by tiring this person out and staying on the outside and putting weight onto the person. And from here, we looked at some drills to always keep his hips away from me so that I can keep moving, continuing in this direction. From here, I can again put weight this way. Some of us looked at here, but the moment I find this hip pocket, I'm going into this space, right? So this was the crux of the first section that we looked at. From here, because you are already in such a dominant position, now we will look to attack because I pinned the person down. One strong attack from north-south is always a kimura, right? So we are looking to fight the hands, and then the moment I find this elbow, I'm rotating him and finding this grip. We can sometimes get away and get a finish here itself, but often this hand will start bothering you. So you will have to grip fight, get this leg out and go for a finish. Looked at a little bit of mechanics, and from here, if they start clasping their hands together, we looked at a different kind of triangle, the side triangle, and basically from here looking to make this adjustment, getting into the finish, or they isolate the arm and we go back into this finish. Right? So this is what we covered like through and through. Next session, if you have questions, we'll address some of those. But we will look at some more proactive style of passing if we can't get around the legs. That was happening to a few of you, I noticed. If we can't get to north-south, what do we do? So we'll look at that for the next session. Yeah? Thank you.